I'm not sure who is out because I can't see the people who already joined. I will see the chat, so if you are in the chat, please say hi to me once you'll be here. You can also leave reactions and such, but today's also going to be a very weird stream. I'm just going to preface it because, as you can see, the whole apartment is empty. That's because I'm moving, and I've been moving for about 2 weeks, cleaning the new apartment, and it looks amazing. So it's probably going to be an upgrade to all of the rest of the streams. But today we're probably going to be a bit short because we are going to do a free lesson we have on our Animation Club School's website. We have links in the descriptions. You can check them out, and we have free lessons on 2D animation, visual development, and as you probably, if you've been to a couple of live streams, you've seen that we have a very cool industry professional. His name is Lightsol, Slava Lightsol, and we will also be doing a free lesson on special effects. So today we're gonna do the most easiest, the basic of the basics. It's gonna be a simple jumping cup, and it's just gonna jump from one place to another. And we're gonna talk about what you're gonna see in the free lesson, and I'm gonna try doing basically like a copy. I still want you to watch the stream on your own. For you will probably find something that will be important to you. I'll be redoing the exercise based on the lesson because I put little notes. Of course I did. So yeah, let me make my mic a little bit more, a little bit louder, like this. And I'll keep it like this. So this is the last time you'll have to adjust your volume in case it was perfect and I ruined it. Sorry, we'll have to do with it for today. So today we're gonna do a jumping cup. It's gonna be a very simple jumping cup. But first, if you want to draw any kind of character, you need to draw the space the character is gonna be in. Because very often in my experience, I would do an animation and then I wouldn't think about the background, and at the time where I want to polish it out and maybe make it something that would be worthy, like putting into a reel, like a show reel, I would come crashing, against the fact that I didn't plan my space or my perspective, and that's why everything looks weird. So to make perspective grid, you can use anything you want to. I'm going to use a tool called Straight Line in Clip Studio Paint. I think it's right over here. Yep. Let me see. And also, I'm probably going to use a rectangle because it will make everything really straight. So let's start with the point of the horizon line. There's different ways you can put the horizon lines. Usually if you're starting and you want the animation to be a bit simpler, I suggest you put the horizon line pretty low. Maybe this is a bit too low, so I'll adjust it and make it over here. If you're gonna put a high horizon line, that means you'll see all of the characters from the top of their heads. Because anything let's talk about what horizon line means in general. This is basically where your eye, this is the point of your eye. Depending actually on your height, you'll see different amounts of space before the horizon. So higher people, they see a bit better. And if you're standing somewhere in a mountain, you're gonna see a lot more. And in some cases, you would even see the curvature of the earth. So, but we're not really big, and we're gonna animate a cup. So the horizon line is gonna be pretty low. And from the horizon line, we can make our little perspective grid. So I'm just gonna duplicate the layer we have here, and I'm gonna transform it to have a couple of lines. Let's hope I do it correctly. Maybe, you know what, let's freestyle it a bit. Let's say our horizon line, the middle of it would be somewhere around here. And from there, we can make these, oof, that's like this, like this, like this, and like this. I'll probably add maybe, if you have a lot of time, I suggest you either use like a tool that will allow you to do this a lot better, because this still has like the human factor in it, because I have to do it with my own hand. Some of the lines are a bit more crooked than others, but this gets the job done. If you want to make something more, or if you want to use it in your final version, I'd suggest you use really straight lines, or even better, if you have a perspective tool. Clip Studio has a perspective tool, but it's very hard to use sometimes. So I think for the sake of our time, we're going to do this hand-drawn horizon. And yeah, about the horizon lines, if you're going to put a high horizon line, that means you'll see the top of the people, because everything below the horizon line is something we see from the top. For example, we have a cup that looks like this. Normal cup. This, like this. When I draw a cup like this is like a very, oh, I forgot what the name is called, where you don't see the perspective. This is just from the side view. If like you put your head on the table and you look at a cup, you'll probably see it that way, from one eye, because the head is big enough to give you a 3D perspective. But like close one eye, put it on the table, and check how the cup looks. It's probably going to look something like this. What you don't see actually is in 3D space, there are volumes you can see from your point of view and some that you can't. And everything below the horizon line would be something pointed towards you. So example, the bottom of this cup that was flat in the beginning, and there's nothing wrong with a flat cup, it's still good. It's just not working for our exercise. So the bottom of the cup would look like this, and this is the space that lies on the ground, and you're able to see it. If the cup was I guess transparent, this is the part that lies down on the ground, and you'll probably be able to see it. Like putting a hand like this. From here, you see the top, but if I go over the horizon line, for example, the horizon line would be the point of the camera over here, and if I go up, I don't change the hand, but like the further we go, the more you see the bottom of my palm. So over the horizon line, we'll see a circle pointing outward. And yeah, you understood what I mean. And this is a space that's turned away from us, just like this palm. And like this. So that's one reason why we need a perspective grid, so we won't forget which parts are actually turned downward and which parts are turned upward. Same goes with the handle, but we're not going to be very do anything very complicated with the handle. It will be more of like a little tail of our character. So we did the perspective grid. We are probably ready to put the first key in. But before that, I want to talk about frame rate. It's also part of our free lesson. You can work in a lot of different frame rates. You probably heard people saying like doing something on 1s, on 2s, on 3s, and 4s, and you probably don't know what that means. Basically, it means how many, I would say, new frames are you going to use. For example, let's see. You could probably see the little animation folder I have over here. This is my layer where I do all of the animation. And if I want to do some maybe simple animation, I don't want to work like on a lot of in-betweens. I just want to, you know, oh, let me show a very good example of this over here. I worked a couple of days on this little animation. It's pretty simple. It's just me trying some creative ideas, like with different brushes and stuff. And here, actually, the hair works on several types of this kind of animation. We have hair strands over here that work on twos. So, for example, every new drawing, it's gonna take 2 frames after that. So let me find it over here. No, it's actually on 3s. Yeah, it's on 3s. So if it's not on 2s, that means every new picture is gonna change after the 3rd frame. And you could see the movement is a bit more nuanced. You can go on 2s, that will make the image even more fluent, or you could go on 1s. There's a very good example of a production that used specifically 1s, and it's called The Thief and the Cobbler. There's actually, it's called a recobbled cut that preserves as much animation as possible. I'm just gonna let it play so you can see how different hair work here. And animations on 1s, it looks the most fluent. It's most like the images, they look like they're almost moving like 60 FPS. The eye tricks you, and when it has like 24 new frames to work with, it goes insane. So it's sometimes really hard to watch something like that, but drawing on 1s, where each frame is new, is very good for quick actions, for some quick movements, something that you can just reduce to like a couple of smear frames. Maybe that's like a complex hand magic trick, or maybe some special effects. Even those are rarely made on 1s. So if you want to do something on 1s, you better have a reason for it, because it's very tiring and time consuming. So I even on these hairs, they are a bit laggy at the end, but they work on 3s, and real looped animation looks a lot more smooth. And also you can work on 4s. 4s is also really good. But I work on, yeah, 1, 2, 3. Oh, I worked here on 6, so you can do that as well. As you can see, each of the new frame of the hair in the back, it changes every 6 frames. But usually this low frame rate is just used to give subtle movement, almost like breathing. Some people like to call an animation like that consists only of 2 or 3 frames that just loop entirely. They're called boils, like something like the picture is boiling. So let's put it down, because I've thrown like a lot of stuff at the table. So there are different kind of frame rates. You can go on 1s for something fast, though it's also very hard because you need to be extra careful about what arcs you're doing, because if you put too many in-betweens into something that didn't work on like 3s and 4s, it's not going to make your animation better. In fact, it might make your animation worse because you're giving too much attention to stuff you haven't planned out. So 1s is for like very special occasions for me. We can go 2s. That's, I would say, not the standard. I think the standard would be like 2s and 4s maybe. Also, let's put in just like standard, and in terms of difficulty I would say medium, because you still have enough leeway to make something not work as good, but at the same time you still have to prepare extra on the arcs and stuff you want in between. And the list goes on. You go on 3rds. It's for a bit more choppy animation. The less frames, the more like 1s, 2, 3s, like 4, 5, 6, for example, 6 frames, it gets choppier and choppier. But you have an opportunity to put a couple of frames in between those and make the movement a bit more fluid. And there's actually a cool little trick we learned on the last stream, the workshop with Slava Lightsol, that he works actually in the frame rate of 12 frames per second, which would basically means like doing animation on twos, but it will be playing a lot faster. So he like completes the keys while working in 12 frames per second, and then to add the in-betweens, he changes the frame rate, and it gives him additional space he couldn't work beforehand, which is, I think, a very good limitation. So we talked about ones and twos and threes. That's one thing. And I've started talking about like 12 and 24 frames per second. This is also really popular. It's, I would say, the knowledge of like ones and twos and threes and like frame rates, it's more of like a mixed bag because they're very dependent on each other. You can work at 12 frames per second and work on ones, but then like, you know, switching the frame rate and those ones suddenly become twos. But usually, I would say if you're working on an animation for the first time, pick 24 frames per second. It will allow you to just play around with the usual standard, and if you want to do something more unique, you can try looking through other frame rates. Sorry, there was a dog. And yeah, my timeline is already set for 24 frames per second. It's a lot easier to change in TV Paint than in Clip Studio. Clip Studio is wholly dependent like on one project, but in TV Paint, you can change the frame rate with just like one click of a button, and that's not gonna ruin anything from it. So, yeah, I think I talked a bit more about the frame rates and everything. TLDR will work in 24 frames per second, still good enough. And we're going to plan the keys first, and then we'll see where we can put the in-betweens. So let's start with the keys. First of all, we need to draw a cup and where it's going to be initially. Okay, let's pick a brush. Let's make this a little bit less noticeable, so it'll be more like a guideline than the actual part of the composition. And let's draw a cup. Remember what I told you about the, what do you call it? The horizon line, and then we have little curvatures here on top and the bottom. Here is the cup. Oof, sorry. Needed a couple tries to do that. So there we are. That's our little cup. Right now it looks pretty boring. We're probably going to add some special effects and eyes a bit later, but for now we'll stick with this, and this will be the first frame of our animation. We'll have about 2 seconds of footage, and I think that's enough for one good job. Let me check something, just give it a couple of swishes and swashes. And from here, let's go to our next pose. That's going to be the very last. I'm just going to copy a frame like this and put it in the very end where I think the animation is already going to stop. In time and also in space. Let me turn on the onion skin so you'll be able to see what's going on, like this. Let's check if they're actually standing on the same line, because they're gonna jump in space, but not in like perspective. That's actually a lesson you can complete yourself. I decided to leave the intermediate and advanced ones for your personal leisure. Plus, we already did some a similar challenge like that with a lily pad, which you can also find in the previous streams of Animation School Club's YouTube channel. I missed all of the messages. Hi Andre, hi Ahmed, hi Annoyed. Yeah, I talked about how CSP has a grid tool, but I'm not comfortable using it yet. So I'll prefer to just go and draw it myself. So this is them, frame 1 and frame 2. I don't think they're on the same level, so let's level it up. Oh, oops. It jumped backwards. There we go. Frame number 2. Yes. Now it's correct. Let's check out if they're on the same line. Oops. Like this. Just put it under the character's like lowest point. And let's check. Almost right. Like this. This will be the space where the character is going to jump, where it's going to do all of the movements, and it will end at a place over here. It's better to establish your keys first. There's several ways you can actually animate a character. Mainly, there's like 2 ways to do it. One of them would be where you draw every pose after your previous one. So I'll like make a frame and I'll make one here, then I'll make another frame and I'll go like even more squashed, and like you draw from one pose to another, you draw until the very end, and it's called straight ahead method of drawing an animation from pose to pose. Oh yeah, from pose to pose. From pose to pose. Basically from frame to frame. You just go one after the other and then see your results. It's really good for doing special effects because it gives you this level of unpredictability. It's good for like improvised movements. A lot of animators, especially like veteran ones, they would share that they usually prefer the second method, but when they want something more unplanned, maybe something more improvised, something like if the character, for example, is panicking, they would go and do a couple of like straight aheads to give it the sense of like chaos ensuing. It's a good method of, I think it's a lot clearer. Sometimes I prefer going straight ahead if there's not a lot of stakes to my animation. Because straight ahead, it gives you a lot less control over your animation. It's like the only exception would be if you have like an amazing memory, which I don't. So let's delete the ones we don't need. And the second type of animation, doing an animation, planning it, is called pose to pose. Let me add like this. Pose to pose. This is the type of animation we're going to do today. It's a lot more controlled. It's a lot more, docile in terms of like stressing yourself over the little details. Pose to pose means you're going from one pose to another, and that usually means that you will plan the most important parts, the most important poses first, and then you will go deeper into a section of animation, try to understand how a character would move from this pose to another one. This is a very good method if you need to plan something out, you need to make something specific, you have a specific design of a character, you need to be sure to abide like by the model sheet. Sometimes in straight ahead you can lose a lot of these consistencies you have in pose to pose. But I think the best method is still somewhere in between, you know, having pose to pose as planning out the keys and in-betweens, and having some straight ahead if you're going to do some secondary action. For example, like the hair, the fabrics, everything that moves with the main body but has those like additional movements to them, it's better to make them straight ahead after you planned out the initial movement. So we're gonna do probably like a mix of both, probably pose to pose because we picked out our key poses, and we're gonna work with them from here on out. Maybe we'll have a little bit straight ahead this time or next time, because I think I have like 60% on my iPad, so it might crash somewhere in the middle of us having the stream. But you'll have to excuse me. Yeah, I'm moving. So we already drew the two cups, and we have the beginning of the cup and the end of the cup movement. But how we're going to connect everything in between? Well, we're going to connect them through a jump, as I told you, and we're going to talk about like the basics of squash and stretch and anticipation. For those who don't know, squash and stretch is a term in animation that it's a very useful tool that you can use. It very varies, varies on the type of animation you're doing. For example, more cartoony style animation, it will have a lot of squash and stretch because the characters can bend, you can mold them. The universe basically allows the characters to be very bouncy. But if you're working on something more realistic, like for example, like those amazing line animation promos for like League of Legends, they use very realistic style that's more closer to rules of like our universe. Even though we have squash and stretch, it's a lot more subtle than very simple cartoony characters. But here, you know, this is a cartoon, so we're gonna do that. And also, what's very important that goes together with squash and stretch when you do a movement, it's very important for your brain to have enough time for expecting the movement to happen. So there's a couple of like things you can do. First of all, I'm just going to count about 10 frames. Yeah, let's have 10 frames over here. This 10 frames will give enough time for the viewer to understand that this is a picture, there's a cup, the cup is standing and not doing anything. What's going to happen? Your brain basically has these like 10 frames to adjust themselves to what is happening. And be more proactive in understanding what's going on in the picture. So we have frame number 10. Probably going to adjust the keyframes. It's probably will be like frame number 10. It might be frame number 8. We'll see how many of them we'll need. So on frame 10, we have the start, and on frame 36, we have the end. And we have to fit a whole animation over here. So let's start with the anticipation. Here we'll do a little bit of straight ahead that I talked about, but it's going to be very planned. Very cool straight ahead. Let's go and choose. Let's copy a frame again. I don't know why, but I wanted to. And focus on the cup over here. Let me pick my tool. It's working. Okay. So, for the character, for example, to move somewhere here, and the brain to read it as something dynamic and fun, you need to give a couple of frames of anticipation. For example, before you jump, you need to acquire enough like energy to propel yourself up. And usually you can't just jump from somewhere. Even right now when I moved, did you see that? I did the little like bending down before shooting up. This allows for the movement to be more noticeable. Anticipation just gives you a little bit of like contrast for a couple of frames, which helps the brain to understand it, and it's more natural. Nothing moves from like 0 to 100. Only if you're like a robot and the movement is like automized. Then it won't need like anticipation, or what would you call it? Anticipation. Yeah, you wouldn't need to like bend back to move forward if you're a robot and you have motors doing that for you. Even though like not always. So let's start with anticipating the little jump. It's probably going to take maybe a couple of frames to push them down And then we're gonna make him jump up. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make him a bit, tiny bit more squashed, like this. Yep. Yep. Whoop. Like that. Did you notice when I squashed and reduced him in size over here, I had to make him bigger on the sides? That's also very important. That's why it's called squash and stretch, because when you squash something in, the volume has to be retained or the character is just going to shrink and your brain would be like, what happened? So for a good squash, you need to stretch some of the parts as well. I may have overdone it on the handle, but the little sides need to peek out. Because even like eating a blueberry, if you're gonna squash it, you can see how it gets longer on the sides. Like this. Yeah, I don't like the handle, but we'll deal with it like that. So now we have a little squash, and then we're gonna have a couple more frames and have a really big squash. So we're gonna squash it even more. We're gonna stretch the sides even more. And one thing I also want to do is I want them slowly preparing for the jump. So it will have to also bend a little bit to the, well, let me try that and see if that works, because usually I tell something and then it doesn't work and I feel very embarrassed. So let's make him even bigger. I'll make even top parts even more stretched out than the bottom. It's very important to remember where the character is standing. I had too many times where I draw something and the character just doesn't stay in the same place, so the movement doesn't feel as realistic as it could have been. Whoop, there we go. Very stretched out. The handle will also go lower. I'll probably even change this one because I think it doesn't work really well. So I'm gonna pick a lasso tool and I'm gonna move it and stretch it a bit. Thank you, digital animation, for existing. I don't know what I've done without you. No idea what I would do if it was 2D like traditional animation. Though there's no better feeling when you finish like a little 2D animation or like a big 2D animation on paper and you finally like photograph all of your frames and you click, the first time you click play, it's a different world. It's a different experience. I tried doing this little animation of fire on a notebook. I basically fashioned a little light table while I was drawing on the subway, and it was amazing. It was like magic coming out of the pages. Well, I was only able to scan it like 2 days later, but still, it felt really cool. Let's see. We can even stretch, yeah, because this is so big. Maybe we can do this and this. Yeah. I want to make it even more squished. I want it to be like a super squish before we go into a very energetic jump. And this is gonna stay for a very short while. It's just for your brain to pick up that something is happening and something's changing really fast. Turn on the onion skin. It's free transform and make it even bigger. Yeah, like that. Let's see. And a bit lower. Whoop. Yeah. So we have like this little like big anticipation, and now we want to put it all of this energy into a jump. But before doing all of these like frames of the character leaving the ground, like pausing in the air, I want to do the cup that's gonna be up in the air. So I'll know where to work from what pose to what pose I'm actually gonna animate. So that'll take a little bit more time. Let me open up like a little reference I have. I hope I have it. If I don't have it, well, this is gonna be sad. Yep. Okay, there it is. Let's see. I'm eyeballing it. Yes, frame number 21 is gonna be the one where we'll probably have enough space to bring the character up into the air, and it will stay there for a couple of frames, so we'll feel like the weight is shifting. There's no more energy in the jump, and gravity takes its toll, so the character freezes a bit and then falls back on the ground. So let's do it off of this picture in the end, the last frame. So we'll just copy the main volume. It's still going to be this curved shape on the bottom. The only difference is we're going to see the bottom when they jump. There's the handle. I'm very shameless about it, but who can tell me no? Maybe it will look like this. From here on out, I'll work and redo some of the stuff. So one thing I want to change is I want to make it maybe the cup a little bit more stretched than usual. There we go. Nice. For example, let's put it like this. If we don't like it, we can always change it, but it retains the original volume we had in the beginning and the end of the animation. We see the little bottom. We probably even have to make the bottom a bit bigger. Like this. And that's partially because when we see the top of the cup here, we see the curve over here, and our brain continues that the curve would look something like this. So this space is a lot higher than over here, so we should see more of the bottom than we would see like the volume on the top here. I think it's can be a little bit more bigger. But for the shape to be read as something like voluminous, I'd say, you need to remember that the corners would look different as well. You wouldn't draw a round cup with an edge like that because it would defeat the whole purpose. So let's give it a good curve, a good round curve like this. The curve is very much curving, and maybe we can change the maybe like this. Yeah, maybe like this. The handle I would probably also change. First of all, I want to make it higher. I think it's very low for the angle we're talking about. And also what I would change is I maybe want to work with changing the volume from the top to the bottom of the handle, because the bottom of the handle will be slightly bigger than the top if the character is turning away from us, and we see the bottom of it. Now it looks like it's jumping somewhere in perspective over there. We'll figure it out later. So here we have the anticipation. Here we have the pose where it's in the middle, and here we have the end. So let's focus on this amount of frames that start from frame, let's say number 15 to 21. This anticipation, I want to keep for one frame. It's going to be like on ones for the movement to be read as something quick, snappy. Woo! It's like, it's already jumping. So if it's not gonna work, we're just gonna give it another frame. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I think we have just enough, like the right amount of space to put the frames in. So, but we still can move all of the stuff. We still have these additional 10 frames. Even 12 frames we use specifically for the brain to get accommodated with the picture. So we can always steal 1 or 2 and the brain isn't gonna notice. It doesn't have a rule where it's 9 frames and now I can't understand anything. Okay, let's go. So from this anticipation, I want to move over here. So usually when you jump, you need to shift your weight. So basically this would be, oops, this would be the ground. The character would be like sitting down. And to jump, for example, like this, it needs to transfer all of that weight that's sitting and pair it with the movement up. So that would be, let's say, even lower. More momentum to the legs and to the lever of the legs pushing up. You need to bend as much as you can. And then you would have this like long stretch where you're still touching the ground, but you already propelled to move forward. Already you have so much force that's ripping you from the ground. Then we'll have a pose like this. And we'll just look like a line like this. I would even make this last pose even higher. So the hands would be like a secondary action showing that the force of the jump has stopped and gravity is taking its toll, and the hands will be like an indication. But we don't have any hands. We only have our little cup. So we'll try sticking to that. But it's just a little simple thing. I wanted to show that I remembered from the free lesson. But if you want a better explanation, a much more well put, concentrated explanation of the free lesson, you're free to go into the descriptions. We have like a simple version, which is just a regular cup with a little bit special effects. We have a cup in perspective, which is for more intermediate animators. And also we have 2 more additional courses that are not specific like 2D animation, but also very good for the world of animation. It's visual development, what a visual developer does on a production, and you'll see like a live recording of someone designing a character and how that happens. And also we'll have pretty soon, but that's a secret for the most thoughtful and attentive users of our Discord server and YouTube channel, that we're going to have another free lesson that will be about special effects and electricity. Yeah, so keep an eye out. So now let's draw this moment of releasing, going like from the ground up. Probably, yeah, I want to do, let me do some little subtle corrections. For example, I want to make the character more like, I would say, I want to move the top of the characters so it would feel like they're like bending down forward. Whoop. Okay, So now I want to draw a stretched out cup. We're going to do it very simply by doing something like this. Let's see if it works. I want to give this like little imaginary leg for the character to put the weight on. Like when you would jump, or like when I did the example, you could see that the legs, they don't move together. When you walk, you need to use them separately. When you jump, you also need to use them separately. And there will be, most likely, there will be a leg that has more weight on it, and it loses contact with the ground a lot later. I want to imitate that for the brain to understand that it's more humanized and it's a living cup and it thinks just like humans do. So that's why one of the parts of the cup would be a bit stretched to accommodate it for that like little illusion. Plus I'm going to make it thinner and a bit longer. So the relative size will be almost the same. But I forgot what I was talking about. Last time when I tried to reanimate a character, I wanted to do like a lot more, but I got so distracted by talking and answering questions that I almost didn't get to do anything. But it was really interesting because we did more corrections on like the idea of the animation and acting, because the whole shot was done in more than 4 weeks, and I right now don't have the time to do something as complex. Okay, so we stretch out the cup. Let's make it like this. We'll probably need to stretch the handle as well, but let's keep it like that. Whoop. Yeah, they already move, I would say, pretty decent, but we have a missing link over here to make the jump even more juicy. So 1, 2, let's go with this one. Let's add an onion skin. And I think in terms of volume, it would be closer to this image over here. So let's copy it, just for the sake of, what do you call it? The sake of speed. Because I have a need for speed. Okay, there we go. It's a little cup. So cup, I want to stretch out a bit as well. Thank you for digital animation on all of its tools that are provided to me. I say thank you every day. And maybe, since it's like so big, maybe make it a little smaller, since it's still like this. And maybe a little more stretch. And what I want to do for the character to feel that they're like really stuck in the air, I want to use, I have a little trick. I don't know how, like, it's also, I think, a trick that is explained in the free lesson, but I learned while I was studying animation in Animation School Club, and it's a very good life hack. To change the trajectory of your character moving from one place to another, you need at least 3 frames for the character, for the brain to understand that movement is changing. Unless it's a robot, you will need like 1, 2, 3 with really small spacing, so the brain will understand, oh, we're moving somewhere else, So we're going to do that, like the same thing over here. This is going to be 1, we're going to have number 2, and this is going to be probably number 3. Or this will be the first one, second one, and the third one. And we'll just readjust the timings as we go on. Okay, let's do the cup. It's probably going to already look like this. And this one, we'll see it like this. So we'll see the side, the little butt. Whoop! There we go. Yeah, to be honest, I think what would be a bit more beneficial if we eat up the free space, have a character with really small space in here in the middle, and we'll give a longer arc when we're gonna fall down. Let's see what we have already. I love clicking this like first play, like yeah, we already have the first part of the cup down. Props to us. It has been only an hour, and I have 50 more percent of the battery in my iPad, so we're probably gonna do the whole thing today. Maybe. I don't guarantee anything. The only thing I would do is I would then, let's try actually this. I want to see if I can make this even more grotesque and squash and stretch it out. Wrong button. No. Like this. And let's make it even thinner and longer. Let's see. Does this work better? Yeah. I think I like this one a little bit more because it gives this like little pep. Zinging pep. I think when drawing a character, like there's this phrase, I also don't know how popular it is or how like widespread the term is, it's the contact. I think it's even used in like Richard Williams' Animator Survival Kit. There's like contact frames and they're very important for the character, for the brain to understand when it's touching and releasing the ground, basically. So yeah, let's move on to the second part of the animation. And then we'll readjust everything a bit because animation for me is like drawing, readjusting, drawing, readjusting, drawing, readjusting. So I hope it's the same for other people like me. Plus, I'm not some kind of like expert or teacher. I started like doing animation 2 years ago, so you'll have to be very nice to me. 1, 2. Yeah, I think let's copy one frame. We don't need to do anything like super spectacular, super terrific. This is going to be smaller as well. We're just going to use transform tool like that. Let's see. Does this read? Not so much. It's probably not reading well because the physics doesn't work. Just see if I can adjust. Probably this is unnecessary. I'll change the cup here as well. Oops. The corner is a bit too stretched out. And then I want to go probably like this. Yeah, I think I want to change the spacing a bit. And I think it works a little bit better. 1, 2, 3. Yes, I'm happy I'm not alone in this because I'm very much drawing and readjusting. I'm really impressed by people who can do like streams on animation and make it really compelling because animation for me is like one thing. That's why I was always like sad as a child because I love to draw. Like I loved being like on the stage and stuff. I love being like the center of attention, as you can notice. Like as you probably noticed, like I'm here sitting talking to all of you, and all of you is probably like 3 people. But still, like when I was young, I liked to be in the center of attention, but also drew a lot. And I was really sad that just like, Well, people who dance, they can dance on the stage and they can impress people. People who, I think this, I think I have to move it over here, like that. And like people who can draw, they don't get to show like a talent on stage, you know. So people who can like transform, you know, this like art process of like drawing and readjusting, drawing and readjusting into something that would be really compelling to watch, that always impressed me. Let's see, does this work better? Uh-huh, yeah. See how I readjusted, I drew and readjusted, drew and readjusted a couple of frames. Mainly, I readjusted this frame, especially over here, because it was a bit too stretched out and it looked really weird, like a little weird. And I changed the spacing on the last three frames we did. So frame number 1 over here, I changed the position. Frame number 2, we have a small spacing over here. And on frame 3, we have even less spacing over here. So the brain could actually read this as something pausing in midair. And now let's, actually what I want to do is we can do a little fun, like we can do a little secondary jump into the action because we have so much energy packed in the first jump. We'll probably need to release this energy in stages. So let's think where we could put the frame where the second jump could be. Maybe we'll move this a little bit, but I'll remember frame 36. We stopped here. Let's make a middle frame. Use the cup as the base again for squashing and stretching. This will probably be a squashed out cup that's landing on this specific place. So what I want to do is I want to squash it like that. So we'll be able to bring the cup forward again and give it like a little hop in the end. I wouldn't even draw like a little fatty roll over here, but we're talking about like a ceramic cup. Even though in our real world, ceramic cups don't squash and stretch, I'd still feel that there's, we still need to put some limitations on what we're doing. Yeah, I grew up on what did I grow up on? I think I grew up on these like uh no, I grew up with these like very badly drawn gifs. There was those were impressive by default. Yeah, but no live streams, nothing. I've actually been thinking for a couple of months, like I should make a forum. Like like 20 years ago, I want to learn HTML. I want to make like a little forum for myself with a little guest book, and everyone will have badly drawn avatars or badly like photoshopped anime characters, or like Rudiger Metro backgrounds. Let's do this handle like this, so it will serve like a little tail. And also what I want to do, I want to finish this anticipation. So like this, it will be probably like this. Let's see if it's if it's even the same shape. Okay. This. Yeah, I think this is a bit better. To show the movement, we can use the little handle. which looks very different from our last frame, but oh well. That's what you get for listening to me. Oh yeah, the Chris graphics, coming back to that, I actually found two of the pictures that really inspired me when I was young. I wonder if I can put it like on the stream. If I'm able to, that would be so fun. That would be so cute. Let me find it. I don't know if anyone's seen it. It's like the like gifs of two like we call them alicorns now, but I don't know. In the 2000s, they were just pretty ponies. I want to put one so it'll be like a little pet. And there were two that really inspired me. One of them, oh yeah, there she is. Do you see it? Oh, there. Now you have my little pet. I hope you're happy. I hope you're happy you made me do it. I'm holding her in my hand. Yes. Back to the tutorial. So yeah, these little gifts, they inspired me to do animation. So because of that little pony, I'm sitting here right now explaining how I would do a cup. Enjoy. And I also want to give a little bit more anticipation over here. I wanted to land, and I wanted to shift the weight. Maybe I'll make it like this. So it'll be like a little fast jumping up. Let me add a little bit adjustments like this. Yeah, so cute. I actually have another one. And they work in a pair. Sorry. I'm so happy to show like stuff like this. They're together. Where could they? Over here. Maybe I should put more GIFs on the stream. It will keep people's attention. It will definitely keep mine. I'll definitely be distracted. If you notice me just looking at the screen, going like, that's me. That's me looking at those little ponies. They're special. Yeah, probably like this. This. Let's also readjust. Like, let's make them flop. Maybe make the top bigger than the bottom. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. Here. Let's have a little cup that will be almost the same volume, but it will be in this like little jump position. Oop. We'll add some more stuff. I just want to click play and see if there's something we already haven't accounted for. The movement is going to be choppy, so like those little ponies, so prepare for that. The first part already looks amazing. The second part needs just a little bit of in-betweens for it. Whoa, almost died. Sorry. We need a couple more in-betweens for it to work. Sorry. This is a moving stream. I'm sorry. Part 2 with like additional stuff is gonna be on the new place, so it's gonna be a bit better in terms of me being prepared. Okay. Whoop. Now we need some movement over here. We have a good pause over here, but we need a couple of frames for the character to finally go down. And since the fall is going to be pretty fast, I want to make one frame with really small space, like with really small spacing of the cup, like finally moving down. And then I'm going to add another frame over here right before this cup. So we'll basically have this. This was this frame. Oh, you can't see it. Well, basically this last frame will be like over here. And I want to add 2 additional frames with little, like very small spacing. So it would feel like a fast movement, like shop. Like when you jump down, you would accelerate, the speed would accelerate. And that's what I want to show. Okay, let's do it. Let's add one more frame over here. Let's turn on our onion skin. We'll use the same proportions, like this, and do something like this. Maybe a little bit of free transform, so the braid could get ready for the cup to stretch a leg down when falling. I again looked at the cute ponies and I forgot what I was talking about. Like that. Yeah, let's do like this. And then we'll add one more over here. That will be basically really similar to this one. We'll probably even make the spacings even smaller. Probably what I want to do over here. I probably want to do it even a bit more subtle. Because I want the shape to stay consistent. But I want the character, yeah, like that. Let me clean this up so it doesn't look weird. You can see that very well. There you go. Perfect. Please remind me to put them off before the end of the stream because I will forget. And next week I'm going to turn the stream on and we're going to have little ponies on screen. But if you like them, I'll keep them. If you know who did these, please tell me because I've been on the lookout for more than 70 years. I was looking for the author of these ponies. I just wanted to personally say thank you. And I haven't been able to yet. So let's do this cup. Also, I don't want to change the shape too much. I think it changes enough on its own. I just want to add these like two little frames. And then I want to move these like this. More. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe make it like this. So the timing would be here, slower. Is it better than on the author? Oh, is it better than have the ponies? No, I like the ponies. They're just a bit off-brand. I'm doing this because no one's watching me. No one's controlling me. Yes, ponies for each stream, and I can have a new pony every stream. We're gonna collect them. And one day we're gonna find a person who did all of these ponies, and they'll have to pay royalties. Okay, let's see if. Oh, did you see that? Did you see that? Nope. Almost. We need like a couple of frames, and this is already like I could feel the weight. I could feel it moving. I would have adjusted the cup, but you know, it's alive. It's alive! It's alive! Sorry. You don't know the scream I make when I do traditional like 2D animation on paper. I literally scream when I shoot everything. I would scream like maybe for 30 seconds being like enthralled, amazed, and then I'll go back to my usual self. Okay, so we need we need one frame over here. I think I'm just gonna copy. I'm just gonna copy frame. I'm gonna do it like this. And I'm gonna adjust it and I'm gonna squash and stretch it a bit. Actually, I did a very, like a long time ago while I was doing the 5-Minute Fridays on Discord before I moved to YouTube to make them available after the fact. I did, I did a very cool like animation practice. Like, can you actually animate without drawing? And that was really fun. You just pick like pictures of whatever you want, ponies, chihuahuas. I did like a chihuahua on a wiener dog, like a cowboy chihuahua riding a wiener dog. If I'll be able to find it, I'll show it to you today, but probably not. It's probably somewhere like in the depths, and I don't want to go there. I don't want to show you how I organize my files because you will judge me. I know you will. Let's copy one more frame and have like the smallest spacing possible for the character, like this. Let's see. We'll adjust it. Let's click play. See what we like. See? The drag and drop doesn't work yet. I added a little frame and it made it worse. So, as part of drawing and readjusting, we're gonna readjust the second frame. Because kind of the end of the jump doesn't feel as impactful. You don't see the stretch down, the squash down when we land on the ground. So that's probably what we need to fix. We'll probably need to do this first for it to actually touch the ground. Then we'll need to do this. Let's move all the frames and copy frame. Yeah, let's copy frame. And we'll stretch a bit like this. And then we'll do this. This. This is a bit too late. No. Maybe let's add one frame over here. Also, another thing I like about Clip Studio Paint, or not Clip Studio Paint, TV Paint, that you can adjust an amount of frames you could see on the onion skin. To do that in Clip Studio, you have to go here and like specify how many cells you want to see. For example, let's go 5, 5, which is like super uncomfortable for me. Like it shows with like this. I don't know. Not very comfy, but maybe good for tracking the arcs. Did it, and maybe let's actually stretch it out even more. Ah, that's why. See that? Let's delete it. I think this one is the one thing that's bothering us. This one, I think we can delete as well. I don't think it works. This one does. Again, we stretch, we readjust. Mm-hmm. And now we have more space to do a undo. Oops. Yeah. We need one more. As I said, for the brain to understand, we're changing positions. Then we need it squashed. Look at arches. Yeah. That's why I'm trying to figure out where I went wrong. Yeah, cancel. Mm-hmm. Retransform. Let's see. Did this work better? Sorry. We did this, probably. Almost! Almost. I don't like the way the movement stops, but it's bouncy. This works. Almost. And that's the point. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to move. We're already one step closer to being the masters we are. One string closer. One string closer. Bam, bam. Deep, beep, boop. It turned out a lot more jumpy than I expected. But I mean, if you do very big squashes and stretches, that's what's gonna happen. Ew. Ew. Hmm. I think we need. I think first of all, what we're gonna do, we're gonna move this until frame 7, so we'll have a bit like enough frames for. Let's copy one more frame, and what I'm gonna do, it's a little trick I sometimes do, uh, for the movement to be like, oh, it has this like, oh, in it. Let's do it like this. Let's see if it's gonna change anything. Sorta. It gives us a little wobble at the end, which makes it like, oh, stop. It like gives this one frame for like any like left like additional energy uh into this like little subtle movement of like, it stopped. I think this works already really good. We're losing the space initially we established over here, I think. Of course, we won't be able to see the cup, but it still looks kind of weird. So I want to see if there's anything I could do about that. And we'll probably finish a bit earlier today then, because I still have stuff that I need to move. They're in this like little set corner over there. I can't show it, but it's like just a couple of bags I need to get delivered before I give the keys to the owner of the apartment. And I need to clean up a bit. So we're probably gonna finish this like little movement we have, and then we're gonna do the second part, which is gonna consist of effects and a bit of like character animations next week. Let's hope everything will go well, and we'll actually have a stream next week, and not like I usually do, plan it out, and then like something happens. I'm happy to listen like computers working now. Ooh, we can make this a bit sharper. Look at this. maybe we can have like a little indication that something was there. Yeah. Well, I mean, you can, we don't like, I think the courses are paid in euros. I don't think you can pay in Bitcoin. But you can get it for the, for the learning, for experience. There's a lot of good parts of, like going to a course. I personally say like the best part of it would be the personal reviews you get because the teacher understands your personal like burdens and, like the best and worst parts of the drawing. For example, I'm very good at like creating an idea, but I'm really bad at like keeping track of all of the keys and everything. So in when I would do animation, I would also be like would be asked to simplify my ideas a bit less ambitious, due to my skills, and also I was mainly focusing on how much stuff I can do in like a given time frame. This is also very important. So I would say the best part would be the review, the personal review with the teacher, um, and also the flexibility. A lot of animation courses are required to be in a certain place, like physical courses, or they would be very expensive, and it won't allow give you like a lot of leeway to um, do some stuff on the side. And I think Animation School Club is a good alternative to traditional ways to learn animation. Of course, the video will stay up. You can watch as much as you want to. Plus, if you want to get the free courses, they're in the description. And if they're not in the description, they're definitely in our Discord channel in the school newsletter. I've recently made a little post that you can check out the free lessons in. I think you only need to submit like they send you the access on your email account, uh, and then you'll get the what do you call it? The access to the free lessons you want to check out, which are pretty cool. And this is the part. This is the first part of the what do you call it? The free course on YouTube. On our site. It's for beginner animators, which basically the first part discusses exactly this: how to animate a little jumping cup. So it would look like a cute cartoon character. You talk about like squash and stretch, anticipation, frame rate, everything that we did here, but I would say in like a better format. It's a bit more focused because I talk a lot about like a bunch of stuff. We have like ponies on the screen I've put up here. My animation skills aren't, of course, as good as Edward. I think I'll achieve like his greatness maybe in like 7 years if I try hard enough. But we'll see. Probably not. Or maybe I will. Who knows? So I have a bit more errors, and I would say stuff that can be improved. And his version is a lot more polished. Plus, there's the second part, which we're gonna do next week because it's already 2 my time, and usually we end at 2:30. So, and I'll end a bit earlier today. And there's also a second part where he does special effects like water spilling out of the cup, steam going out of the cup because it has hot liquid. We'll add little eyes and little stuff to make it feel not just like a jumping cup, but actually a character who has motivations and stuff like that. Plus, we're going to talk about little tips and tricks you can do while animating characters, especially with the eyes. There's like a couple of stuff you probably want to pay attention to. I know, same. It's sometimes really hard, and I would say it's only like an intermediate problem of putting an idea down on the iPad. I'd say it happens. Like, as long as you're animating and drawing, you're always going to be faced with this problem, because your brain can think of like most amazing stuff, but if you don't have enough skills, you won't be able to put it in. But with enough preparation and enough practice, through either just challenges or courses in our school, at least you'll get the experience to try something out. When I was only starting, like 2 years ago, when I haven't started the courses yet, animation for me was something like astronomically hard. I had no idea. How do you like move something? Like, how do you make it feel like they don't just like there's just a bunch of images flashing at you, but it's actually a concise movement with a start, with an end. And Animation School Club, especially the first year, like they focus on those basics. Like, just as basic tools you can do anywhere you want it to. And now I feel that I'm a lot more comfortable with like planning out movements and stuff, sitting here on YouTube showing something to other people, to be comfortable like that. And I think I'm gonna go maybe through another course. I want to do a couple of shots I can put in my reel, and having someone who will give you personalized feedback every week is just really good, really useful. Plus, I think there's like the normal courses you go through, and there's also after class. And after class is a thing. It's cheaper, and it's for people who've already finished at least one animation main course. You can. I'm not sure if you can go there just like that. But what's cool about it that you meet 2 times per week. At the beginning of the after class, it goes like 1 month. At the beginning after class, you set up a goal you want to achieve, and in the beginning of the week, you meet. You show what you've done over like the weekend and stuff. You set up a goal. What do you want to do through the week? And at the end of the week, you meet again, and like basically 2 reviews per week instead of 1 on the usual course. But it's a lot more intensive, I'd say. Well, you can try saving up now, but if you want to do some free stuff, we also have a Discord server, and it was made specifically for those people who are not yet ready to enroll fully into the courses, but want to try their hand at animation. We have these like streams like 5-Minute Friday, where you can try doing like a jumping cup, or like explain some principles like the wave principle. There's like a good stream called Waves on Winds. You can try looking at that. It's almost like a really well put tutorial. Just don't look in the middle. The middle has like a lot of mistakes in it. But the beginning and the end, real good. Plus, on the Discord server, we do practice every week. On Thursdays, we meet for a couple of hours. We do some kind of either animation or drawing or storyboard or character design, for example. And it's also made for like setting your goals and trying to complete those goals in 2 hours. And we do one more thing that's not exactly about animating, but it's like a necessary skill if you want to do 2D animation, is figure drawing. So every week on Sundays, almost every week, if we don't have anything else planned, we meet on our Discord server and we draw figure drawing together. We start from really short poses for 1 to 3 minutes, and then we go into longer ones to get more comfortable. True, but the classes, they start every 3 months. So if you miss this one, you can just hang out at our Discord server. Plus, every month we try to have workshops with our mentors, and we're gonna have a really good workshop really soon. I just haven't gotten the time to announce it because we're still putting it together. But if you're on our YouTube channel, you're probably seeing another live stream that's gonna be on the 20th of September. Which is also going to be really cool. It's more about more intermediate, advanced animation, but I think it would be useful even for those who are just starting out and want to see what they can do if they have more complex tools at their disposal. So feel free to come to the Discord server. We have people who are not enrolled in the courses and they just want to do practice animation together. Feel free. I would only be happy to have more people there. It's going to be a bit more fun. The more the merrier. Because right now I think we have some people who are active, but we're still, I'd consider myself a more of a cute and cozy server. It hasn't gotten like big enough yet to be a bit more intense. So it's like a little family. Well, I think I've talked a lot, and I think we can finish this stream on this kind of light note. Again, I'm going to say check out the links in the descriptions. Feel free to hang out on any social medias we have. Check out our Instagram, our YouTube. You can check out 5 Minute Friday streams that I did during like the last weeks, last 4 months. I think I've been doing almost every week. I've been doing something here, so you can check any of them out. I also share the materials and stuff in our Discord server. So if you're using TV Paint, you can also download some neat little things you can use in your files. And yeah, check out our workshops. I think they're in a separate folder. And yeah, I think I'll see you all next week. We're going to do a part 2 when we're going to add some special effects, which I love doing. And we're going to give this cup some character. Plus, maybe I'll draw like a background during the week if I have time. So, again, thank you very much for being here. This was a lot more fun than I anticipated because my mind has been completely like submerged into moving stuff. So being able to come here and just talk about animation for 2 hours is just, you can call it a relief for me. Something that I can just talk for hours about that I don't have an opportunity to. Except here, so I'm going to bother you for a very long time. I just got your message. Then go learn. Start with our workshops. We have really good ones on like basic stuff. We have a really good one on electricity you could do, and it doesn't require a lot of drawing knowledge to do it. So feel free to. Hi, we're already finishing the stream, but still thank you for saying hi. Happy to have you. But I think we can end on this really good note. I invite everyone to hop on the Discord. I also, if you want to do the free exercise, the challenge we did today, feel free to send it in our Discord server, or you can tag our school if you're sharing it on Instagram. So we'll be able to see it and post it and be really proud of you about it. So yeah, I think that's it. Thank you again for being here. This is the first time I'm saying thank you, but still very, very grateful to have you. I'll be finishing up right now. I'll put it offline. Feel free to stick around. I'll put some ponies on the offline screen so you can feel engaged. Okay, bye. I hope I see you all next week.